This is a hearing for Mr. Mayor.
So let's call this in order. We have a quorum. I'm gonna start you through the
Well, I was just
process.
gonna start with it.
Okay,
But, okay, yeah, roll call, please.
roll call.
Laura Wigand here.
Pete Bauman here.
Elise McMath here.
Okay, in the interest of, do we wish to do the invocation pledge of allegiance? Or knowing Laura's got some emergencies going on, let's go ahead and move past that. Okay,
Fine by me.
okay.
And I was gonna, my big thing was I was gonna go moments of silence. But I won't waste.
So again, Pete, if you don't mind, I just, again, so everybody is aware, our chairman, Dolores Blackburn, has submitted her resignation. She has indicated they are relocating out of town. So that became effective at the end of September. We have provided that to the town council, and we're in the process of trying to bring forward our alternate to come forward onto the board full-time and take it on from there. And Bill Strand, who is our other member, had already indicated he could not be here because he was also going to be out of town today. So we are going to actually hold off on the election of the chair, vice chair, and secretary to have a full complement again of the board, if everyone's okay with that.
Sure.
So then moving on, we can do a consent agenda. Right now, it's just the agenda format. We have no minutes for today for consideration. So anybody have consent? Good with the format?
Yes.
Great. Now you're up, Pete, with our new business and public hearing, application for Martin Mayer. Go for it.
Okay, well, this is the application for Martin Mayer for variance for Article 3, Section 3.2 of the Cape Charles zoning ordinance to allow for a rear deck to extend 1.5 feet into the side setback and 5 feet into the rear setback.
Jack, give the staff report.
So you all heard the narrative of the proposal that Pete just read. So moving on to the ordinance requirements to be considered. Does the evidence show that the strict application of terms of the ordinance would unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property, or that the granting of the variance would alleviate a hardship due to a physical condition relating to the property or improvements thereon at the time effective date of the ordinance? Because this house was constructed prior to zoning and the enforcement of setbacks, it would be unreasonable to enforce present-day setback requirements on this property to hinder the construction of the rear deck. Was the property interest for which the variance is being requested acquired in good faith, and any hardship was not created by the applicant for this variance? While the applicant did recently purchase this property and is seeking to make improvements, including a rear deck that is requiring the request of this variance, the property was already a legal non-conforming size lot, and the consideration of a back deck is relatively commonplace throughout the historic district. Will the granting of the variance not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and nearby properties in the proximity of the geographical area? By granting the requested variance, the property will conform with the rest of the neighborhood in this area. Is the condition or situation of the property concerned not of so general or reoccurring in nature as to make reasonable, practicable the formulation of a general regulation to be adopted as an amendment of the ordinance? This is a relatively unique variance request in this area of the historic district. The fact that this is a corner lot that does not require any variance relief to the side of the lot facing Madison Avenue, and due to the original placement of the historic home when there were no zoning setbacks in place, this request is reasonable to the development pattern on this lot. Does the granting of the variance result in a use that is not otherwise permitted on such property, or a change in the zoning classification on the property? No, by granting the variance request, no change to the zoning classification will occur and decks are allowed. Is the relief or remedy sought by the variance application not available through a special exemption process that is authorized in the ordinance, or the process for the modification of a zoning ordinance at the time of the filing of the variance application? No, variance application is the only option to allow an encroachment into the setbacks. And then that leads to the discussion points. Does the board feel that allowing the variance request is reasonable?
I have one question. Going back to what you said, there was no setback requirements on the side of the property. Okay. So that whole chunk of land is part of that lot? Is that what I'm understanding? Because I know there's no sidewalk right there.
Question for me or for?
Question for either Jack or for Katie.
You can ask the property owner, he's here,
Okay.
he can tell you what he
Well, I
owns.
might.
Yeah, go ahead, Martin, go ahead.
Marty Mayer, 502 Plum. So if you look at, I'm not sure if you can tell from the photo, but it's an interesting property to look at. It's on the survey, I guess is probably the best one. Because the right-of-way on the side is pretty substantial. So when you look at that, some people have thought that might be a separate property. It's not. It's just approximately 15 plus feet the right-of-way from where the sidewalk would eventually go from the street.
Okay.
I don't know what I did with mine,
Correct, and they do have the site plan in their
but
packet.
that's probably the easiest one to see that on.
Okay, so I have one other question for you, Marty.
Sure.
That lot that's behind this, your house, between, I don't know the address, but the Neptune Jewel or whatever it's called. the
Used to be
little-
John's house. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that your lot as well?
No, that, I believe that sold in the last year.
Oh, it
It's
did.
the Palmores. Is that
Okay.
the lot behind you?
I believe so.
Yes, the Palmores in that.
Okay. Do we have any yays or nays from them? Did they respond at all?
I actually did talk with Jeff Palmore. He called my office at the end of last week, asked some questions to make sure he understood what was being sought for this variance application. And he did not express any objections, did not submit any written comments or emails to the office.
Okay.
This seems like a very reasonable request.
Yeah.
I move
think so.
that we approve the variance request.
Am I
Before,
allowed
we
to
still
do
gotta go
that?
through the public hearing,
Oh,
so
okay.
don't jump ahead yet. So, any other questions from the board?
Not I.
Do we want to hear if anybody from the public has signed up to speak? We're a little rusty, it's been a long time since we've met as a board, so we're gonna get through the process.
No one signed up.
But we do have two written correspondence. Could you read that into the record, please?
Dear Ms. Nunez, I am writing in support of the mayor's zoning variance application for 502 Plum Street. The requested variance, which would allow the raised deck to extend a few feet into the setback, will help address the frequent flooding issues the property experiences. Given the size of the lot, the current setbacks leave minimal room for expansion and limit the full use of the property. Granting this variance would not create any undue impact on neighboring properties or alter the character of the neighborhood, as many surrounding properties already have structures or hardscapes that extend into the rear setback. For these reasons, I respectfully offer my support for the town to grant the requested zoning variance. Raphael Allen and Brent Diggs, 504 Plum Street. Dear Ms. Nunez, I am writing to formally convey my support for the mayor's zoning variance request concerning their property at 502 Plum Street. The proposed variance, which would allow for a minor extension of a raised deck into the setback area, appears both reasonable and necessary to alleviate recurring drainage and flooding concerns affecting the rear portion of the property. Due to the limited dimensions of the lot, the current setback restrictions significantly constrain opportunities for effective use and improvement of the property. Granting this variance would not create any adverse effects on adjacent properties nor alter the established character of the neighborhood. Several nearby properties already include comparable structures extending within the setback boundaries. For these reasons, I respectfully recommend that the town approve the requested variance. Thank you. Josh Fulham, 508 Plum Street.
And with there being no further public comments, I request that you close the public hearing.
All right, the public hearing is closed.
Now board deliberation and vote.
Well, there's not much to do.
Yeah, after they,
Staff has proposed a motion that's in our staff report on page 4. If you'd like to consider that as your motion for today's public hearing. Want me to read it to you?
yes, please.
After careful consideration of the application and the staff report, the Board of Zoning Appeals votes to approve the variance application submitted by Martin Mayer for variance to allow for a rear deck to extend 1.5 feet into the north side setback and 5 feet into the rear yard setback for the rear deck. That is our proposed motion, so if there's a motion and a second, then vote on that, that'd be great.
I move we approve the staff's requirement and the variance request.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very
The
much.
motion passes.
And with that, we have no further business. We are set for a hearing, our next scheduled meeting is November 11th, 2025. At this point, we have received no applications by the deadline, so we'll be canceling your November 11th meeting. I do believe you will be having the meeting in December, because I think I've just gotten an appeals application filed this morning.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
That's it.
So we